So, how did Hypercard come about? This is after the Macintosh, of course. Did somebody say to you, "We need this," or did you just say, "This is what I want to do"?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there was a fallow period when I was kind of depressed and hunting around for the next thing to do.
Yeah. What's next?
You know, one way of thinking about it is, Steve had said, "Come and follow me, I'll make you fishers of men." You know, it was Steve, you know, Jesus Jobs.
Yeah.
We were looking for the second coming of Jesus Jobs.
The apostles.
And it wasn't happening.
Needed a gig.
You know, what do you do to follow that act?
No.
Okay?
So had he been fired at this point, or what was he doing at this point?
At the beginning of Hypercard, I think he was still there.
He was still
at the
there.
End, it wasn't.
Yeah.
In fact, when he left to form Next, he asked me to come with him.
He wanted you to go.
He said, "You got to come with me."
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm in the middle of this Hypercard thing. I think it's going to be important. I want to follow through and do it." He said, "Well, you could do it at Next." I said, "Well, you know, Apple will distribute it to millions of people. They are my publisher, and I love you, Steve, but I can't. I want to do this." And he said, "Well, if you were really my friend, you'd come with me." Oh, that backed me into a corner. If you were really my friend, you'd want me to be fulfilled and successful at what I'm doing, and you would be rooting for me, and you would be advising me, you should stay with Apple because they can get this out to many more people than we can.
Did you say that to him?
I did. And so we had a period of about a year that we didn't really talk to each other that much. We had been really good friends before then. There was a period of, maybe 2.5 years where we ate more dinners together than not.
Yeah.
And you know, if you'd asked either of us who the best friend was, it'd be the other.
You must have hated that movie.
I did. Each of the movies about Jobs was terrible.
Yeah.
The one
I hated him, and I didn't even. I mean,
the Aaron Sorkin one.
Yeah.
Was just totally
horrible.
not truthful at all.
Wasn't the guy.
That wasn't his character, and the events didn't happen. You know, you think of Jobs having a reality distortion field. I think of Aaron Sorkin as having, or at least that movie, as having a history distortion field.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people will experience that and think that's the way it was. It wasn't that way at all.
Well, let's
the only
correct
thing
the
he got
record.
right in that movie was Joanna Hoffman. The portrayal of Joanna Hoffman was spot on.
Interesting.
Even her accent was right, but her character and her way that she was trying to rein in Steve and keep him from pissing all over himself, you know, keep him from making an ass of himself, that was Joanna. And I recognized her in that movie. I didn't recognize the Steve at all. That wasn't Steve.
There was no heart in that character. I think Steve had a lot of heart.
And even the factual events were either out of sequence or never happened.
Never happened.
For example, having Woz say, "You should give credit to the Apple II guys." At each of these 3 events, he wasn't at the second and third event at all. So
that did the injustice to
I don't think they
Woz,
did a good
too.
job. I didn't think they did. You know, the best accounting of Jobs is actually the book Unbecoming Steve
I love
Jobs.
that one.
Brent Slender and another writer. And they did a really good job of showing kind of the arc of Steve's career.
Yeah.
It's true, at the beginning, he was very polarized. It was gods and shits. And if you were currently interpreted as a god, you knew that you made stupid decisions like anybody else. You were going to fall off your pedestal when they found out that you farted and made stupid engineering choices yourself.
Right.
And, you know, if you were head, then no matter how beautiful work you did, you would, you know, feel like you couldn't get elevated. So, but that's just the beginning.
He was a young guy.
He grew, and he learned how to work with his people, to develop them. I think working at Next did a lot to educate him, to bring him up into working with a team. Certainly having a family made a big difference.
No mention of that in the movie at all. And
crazy. I think the Brent Slender book is a more honest portrayal of the arc of his career, and everybody likes to just focus in on this very caricature of his first years.
Right.
Like, you know, a character, they exaggerate. He didn't really look like that, but if he had a big nose, well, they make it even bigger. Right. That's what they did, and I think it's a really disservice to what actually happened. And it's a disservice, certainly, to Steve's family, because they know what he was really like.
Yeah.
The reason he wanted Isaacson to write the book, and why he gave him carte blanche to, you know, there's no skeletons in my closet, you can turn over anything you want, was he wanted his children to know why he had been so busy working at Apple that he hadn't had a lot of time to play with them.
Did you spend some time with him towards the end?
I did.
Yeah. And you had patched up those old differences a long time ago.
Yeah, a few years after we split up, we both had kids at the same school. We were at Crystal Springs High School, and there was a music event where the kids were singing, and we happened to sit next to each other. And at a break, he turned to me and he said, you know, Hypercard was really ahead of his time, wasn't it? Mm. And that was the first time he'd ever said anything good about Hypercard. I think before that, the problem is, Hypercard is the reason I didn't go to Next, and it had Scully stink all over it.
Right.
You know, it was
doubly damned.
Right.
Yeah.
And for him to say that, I thought was really big, and kind of the first time he actually said, it was an apology as far as he could go.
Yeah.